Hello everyone, and welcome back to another fascinating episode. Today, I want you to imagine something. Imagine a young boy living in a small town over 450 years ago. There are no smartphones, no internet, no television, and not even electricity. Yet this boy grows up to become the most famous writer in human history. His words travel across centuries. His stories are translated into hundreds of languages. His plays are performed in almost every country on earth. And even today, millions of people continue to read, watch, and admire his work. That boy was William Shakespeare. But here's the interesting question. How did an ordinary boy from a small English town become one of the greatest literary legends the world has ever known? Was he naturally gifted? Did he face struggles? What was his life really like? And why do people still talk about him after more than 400 years? Today, we are going to explore the incredible journey of William Shakespeare. So sit back, relax, and let's begin. William Shakespeare was born in the year 1564 in a town called Stratford-upon-Avon in England. It was a beautiful market town surrounded by nature and rivers. His father, John Shakespeare, was a businessman and glove maker. His mother, Mary Arden, came from a respected farming family. William was the third child in the family, but he became the most famous one. As a young boy, Shakespeare probably attended a local grammar school. The education system was very different from today's schools. Students studied Latin, literature, history, and classical stories. The school days were long and strict. Teachers expected discipline and hard work. Young William spent countless hours reading stories from ancient Rome and Greece. These stories would later influence many of his future plays. But life was not always easy. England during the 16th century faced many challenges. Diseases were common. Life expectancy was low. Opportunities were limited. Many people worked hard just to survive. Despite these difficulties, Shakespeare developed a deep love for language and storytelling. He became fascinated by how words could create emotions, how stories could inspire people, and how imagination could transport someone to a completely different world. As Shakespeare grew older, another important event happened. At the age of 18, he married Anne Hathaway, and was older than him by several years. Together they had 3 children, a daughter named Susanna and twins named Hamnet and Judith. At this point, Shakespeare seemed like an ordinary family man. Nothing suggested that he would one day become a global icon. But then something mysterious happened. Historians call this period Shakespeare's lost years. For several years, very little is known about his life. There are many theories. Some believe he worked as a teacher. Others think he traveled around England. Some even suggest he joined acting groups. The truth remains uncertain. And perhaps that mystery makes his story even more fascinating. Eventually, Shakespeare arrived in London. This decision changed his life forever. At that time, London was growing rapidly. It was becoming the center of business, culture, and entertainment. The city was full of energy. Merchants, artists, actors, and dreamers all came to London seeking success. Shakespeare was one of them. When he first arrived, life was probably difficult. He was not rich. He had no famous connections. He was simply a talented young man trying to find his place in a competitive city. But he had something powerful. He had determination. He had creativity. And he had an extraordinary understanding of human emotions. Soon, Shakespeare became involved with the theatre world. Theatres were incredibly popular in London. People from all social classes enjoyed watching plays. Rich nobles sat in comfortable seats. Poor workers stood near the stage. Everyone gathered together to experience stories. Shakespeare started working as an actor and playwright. A playwright is someone who writes plays for the theater. At first, his success was modest. But gradually, audiences began noticing his talent. His stories felt different. His characters felt real. His dialogue was unforgettable. Unlike many writers of his time, Shakespeare understood human nature deeply. He knew people could be brave and fearful at the same time, kind and selfish at the same time, wise and foolish at the same time. His characters were not perfect heroes. They were complex human beings. And that made them believable. One of Shakespeare's greatest strengths was his ability to write for everyone. Whether someone was a king or a farmer, they could enjoy his work. His plays contained humor, drama, romance, action, mystery, and powerful emotions. There was something for every audience member. As his reputation grew, Shakespeare joined a theatre company known as the Lord Chamberlain's Men. This became one of the most successful acting companies in England. Later, the company received royal support and became known as the King's Men. The play shows how unchecked ambition can lead to disaster. Then we have Othello, a powerful story about jealousy and manipulation. And King Lear, a heartbreaking story about family, pride, and wisdom. Each play explores timeless human emotions. That is why they still feel relevant today. People change. Technology changes. Society changes. But human emotions remain surprisingly similar. Love, fear, hope, jealousy, ambition, friendship. These emotions connect us to Shakespeare's characters across hundreds of years. Another remarkable thing about Shakespeare was his influence on the English language. Many words and phrases we use today either came from him or became popular because of his writing. Expressions such as break the ice, heart of gold, and wild-goose chase are connected to Shakespeare. Imagine that. A writer influencing everyday conversations centuries after his death. That level of impact is extraordinary. But Shakespeare's life was not without sadness. His only son, Hamnet, died at a young age. This personal tragedy likely affected him deeply. Some scholars believe the loss influenced parts of his later writing. Even great artists experience pain. Even successful people face heartbreak. And Shakespeare was no exception. As the years passed, his fame continued growing. He earned wealth. He gained respect. And he secured his place in history. Eventually, Shakespeare returned to Stratford-upon-Avon. After years of success in London, he spent his final years in the town where his journey began. There is something poetic about that. The boy who left home to chase his dreams eventually returned to where it all started. William Shakespeare passed away in 1616. But his story did not end there. In many ways, it was only beginning. His plays continued to be performed. His books continued to be read. His influence continued to spread around the world. Generation after generation discovered his work. And each generation found something meaningful within it. Today, Shakespeare is studied in schools, universities, and literary institutions worldwide. His plays inspire movies, books, television shows, and modern theater productions. His ideas continue to shape storytelling. His words continue to inspire creativity. And his legacy continues to grow. Perhaps the biggest lesson from Shakespeare's life is this. You do not need to be born famous. You do not need perfect circumstances. You do not need endless resources. What you need is curiosity, dedication, creativity, and the courage to keep improving your craft. A young boy from a small town transformed the world through stories. That reminds us that great achievements often begin with ordinary people who refuse to stop dreaming. And that is the incredible story of William Shakespeare. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to follow the podcast, share it with your friends, and leave a review. Your support helps us bring more inspiring stories from history. And in the next episode, we'll dive deeper into Shakespeare's greatest plays and uncover the hidden meanings behind them. Until then, keep learning, keep growing, and keep exploring the amazing stories that shaped our world. Take care.